Folks, welcome to Movie News Monday, where every single Monday live on twitch.tv/JupyGorg, we go over all of the happenings in the world of entertainment. We're talking movies, television, podcasts, apparently. MCU, DCU, all the U's, you get it. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can be in the know of everything that was going on in the world of cinema and podcasts. We got to start talking about those now. Anyways, folks, here's some good news to kick us off today. The Pitt has been renewed for season 3. Now, if you've ever stopped by my chat, you know that I am a huge champion of The Pitt. I think it is one of the best shows on television right now. And on top of just being a fantastic show, we need to acknowledge the fact that on the day that season 2 premiered, during the premiere on January 7th, Wednesday night, they announced that season 3 was in the works. And can we just say thank you? Thank you to Noah Wiley and the rest of the team for getting us back on target with the way that television is supposed to be made. I do not need 5 years in between my shows. I do not need a lifetime and a half in order to find out what happens next. Keep the story going. Keep us on renew cycles. I saw some people, season 2 of The Pitt just premiered, which if you're not watching it, go watch it. What are you doing? I know you have an HBO account. Some people on Twitter were like panicking because they were like, what? So-and-so just posted on Instagram that they're filming the finale to season 2 right now, but the first episode just came out. What are they doing? How are they going to get it out in time? And we're just sitting here like, that meme. First time. Yeah, we've been here before. Back in my day, the CW would shoot 22 episode seasons of Arrow and The Flash, and they would be shooting episode 16 while episode 3 was airing. That's why mid-season breaks used to exist. Y'all remember mid-season breaks? Oh man, I miss old school television broadcasting. But in either case, this is great news. The Pitt is an incredible show. Definitely recommend it to everyone. We have a standing rule in my chat that if you watch The Pitt and you don't love it, I will watch whatever it is you tell me to watch, which I have not followed through on that promise with Severance season 2, but I will. I promise. I won't break my promise. Here's what the head of HBO had to say about The Pitt. That you have an incredible group of people with John, Noah, and Scott who understand how to make 15 episodes, but also how to bring it back on an annual basis. That is one thing that I think that we've gotten away from in television, the ability to bring shows back. And frankly, that is just something that we need. I think enough people have come around following season 5 of Stranger Things and recognizing, hey, maybe taking 5 years in between your seasons is not the best thing for anybody. So here we are. Here's hoping 47 more seasons of The Pitt as an IV directly into our veins. I will be watching. In other news, over in the world of Disney live action entertainment, though we had some doubts when Snow White really threw a wrench in Disney's plans and made them rethink their strategy for live action entertainment, and then suddenly Lilo and Stitch made $1 gazillion, and they said, actually, no, never mind, this literally prints money, we need to keep doing this. We are officially moving forward with a live action Tangled. This is really disappointing for me. I think Tangled is one of the best modern Disney movies. It's a sleeper hit. It's a sleeper hit in my mind. I think it gets lost between the popularity of Moana and Frozen and things like that. Tangled is incredible. But we have our cast. Tegan Croft has been cast as Rapunzel, and Milo Manheim from the Zombies franchise has been cast as Flynn Rider. We also have confirmation too that Michael Gracie, the director behind The Greatest Showman and A Better Man, will be at the reins directing this movie, with Kristen Burr producing the movie, who worked on the live-action Cruella and Freakier Friday, and Jennifer Caton Robinson is the writer on this script. Now, that makes me feel a little bit better. This casting news is like, sure, like, yeah, she kind of looks like Rapunzel. Yeah, he kind of looks like Flynn. I'm sure they can sing. I'm sure they're decent enough actors. But Michael Gracie, man, I really like his work as a director. And Jennifer Caton Robinson was actually at the SCAD Savannah Film Festivals a few years ago, and she was in a panel about writer, producers, and just like women in the industry. And man, she really knows what she's doing. So I feel like I explicitly trust her following having seen that. But all that to say, at the end of the day, this is still a live action Disney remake. And I feel like it's just my appetite for those has really, really decreased over the years. So I just don't know that we need to keep doing this. Like, I feel like there's nothing that could get me excited for a live action Tangled, unless you had maybe Catherine Hahn in talks to play Mother Gothel, which other... Oh. Well, actually, I would like to see that. I would very much like to see Catherine Hahn play Mother Gothel in live action Tangled. I think that's actually just perfect casting, and Catherine Hahn can sing, and she can act, and she's an incredible villain. She's an incredible heel. As Agatha, she was great. Give me live action Tangled. I want to see it. I want to see Catherine Hahn as Mother Gothel. This is one of those cases where it's like an incredible fan cast, and this had been going around from the second that Disney teased there might be a live action Tangled. People have been clamoring, saying that Catherine Hahn would be perfect. And, it makes sense on top of the fact that she was a pretty well-renowned character actor for the longest time in Hollywood, with a lot of supporting roles in comedy movies. She's been doing great in the television front. Agatha all along was great. A nominated performance for that. She's fantastic in the studio. She's fantastic in some of the other works that she's been in. So it may just be the time for her to get a major role in a big blockbuster like this. So this makes me hopeful for her career path. That being said, bit aside, I'm still just not super motivated by another live action Disney remake. But what do you think? Does any of this casting get you excited? Does Catherine Hahn move the needle for you at all? Are we good? Are we good on live action remakes? I feel like we're good. You know what it is? It was interesting when we were doing things like Alice in Wonderland and Maleficent, that what's like, oh, this is like a different retelling of the story. Like this is kind of a new approach at it. But now when we're just like doing like a shot for shot remake, I'm just not quite as enthused. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited for it. Hey, and you know what? All the power to you. I am not. I wish I was excited. I wish I was. Now, folks, there is a shakeup happening in the world of superhero casting. James Gunn took over DC Studios, and we all thought he was bringing the Guardians of the Galaxy alongside with him. But in fact, he was looking for the Avengers. After we've confirmed that Scarlett Johansson has been cast in the Batman Part 2, Sebastian Stan is in talks for a role. This broke on Deadline earlier last week, on my birthday, that Sebastian Stan is headed over to the Matt Reeves Batman universe, and there's a lot of speculation for who he may be playing. Personally, I had thought that for the longest time, maybe the Batman Part 2 was going to set up the Court of Owls. I'm less sure about that now. Some people had speculated, oh, maybe it could be Hush, and maybe Sebastian Stan is playing Hush. But if we had any doubts about who he might be playing, well, it just so happens that Sebastian Stan's personal stylist was so excited by this casting news that he decided to share a couple things on his Instagram story that maybe he wasn't supposed to be sharing. Maybe some stuff that looks like some concept art that maybe is not supposed to be getting revealed yet. So, well, who could Sebastian Stan be playing in Matt Reeves' Batman Part 2? Well, if we trust some of the pictures here that his stylist posted and then very promptly deleted, it's very likely that Sebastian Stan could be playing Harvey Dent. This was also reported by The Hollywood Reporter following the initial release from Deadline that Sebastian Stan is going to be playing Harvey Dent. Will that Harvey Dent become Two-Face? Maybe. I don't know that I'm excited for another origin story for Two-Face, especially with The Dark Knight having done that so well. I think I would prefer that we just go ahead and jump into it existing, or into him existing as Two-Face. But at the same time, I feel like we need a little bit more to get here from the Batman universe that we've established with Matt Reeves. So I'm a little bit unsure. This could be, mixed on it, chat. Yeah, I feel that. This could be very much like a Billy D. Williams in the 1980s Batman movies, where he plays Harvey Dent and it is strictly just Harvey Dent. It's just a fun Easter egg, poke, poke, nod, nod. We all know where this is going, but it's not going any further than that. I'm not sure. I think it's good casting, and I think that Sebastian Stan has the skills to play basically anyone. It is also, at this point, pretty confirmed that Barry Keoghan will be returning as the Joker for Part 2 as well. So, man, who knows? Who knows? Maybe it's going to be like an Arkham Asylum story or something. That might make sense given where the Penguin left off as well. So, I'm really excited for this movie. I'm just pissed off that we have to wait another, 2-3 years for this movie to come out. Now, sticking in the world of superheroes, this is reported by a scooper, so take it with a pretty heavy grain of salt. There's been a lot of leaks surrounding the Marvel Universe recently, especially with all the Doomsday stuff going on, so take it all with a huge grain of salt, but it is worth it to consider that part of this might be true. It seems as though Sony has finally relented and is going to be allowing Marvel Studios basically back into the toy chest. All live action spin-offs from the Sony Pictures universe of Spider-Man characters, whatever, the Spasm or whatever it was called, all films in that world are basically canceled, including at some point there was an Olivia Wilde Spider-Woman film that had been rumored. And it seems that aside from the Spider-Verse movies that they feel really comfortable with, Sony's going to give Marvel a lot more freedom with just using the Spider-Man characters and working out a better licensing deal for themselves. And frankly, it makes sense. Though Sony owns the distribution rights for Spider-Man in the film franchise, it doesn't really have ownership of the merchandising. It still has to pay Marvel some pretty hefty fees for licensing the character and for profit sharing and everything like that. It's something that I've read about a lot, especially in this Reign of the MCU book that I've been reading recently. It's just an extremely complicated deal, and that deal, it was a miracle that it happened in the first place. And if you remember, there was a period of time in which the deal was dead and wasn't going to go through, except for Tom Holland was getting on the phone with every single CEO who would listen to him and be like, come on, let's make another movie, which ultimately gave us No Way Home. So thank you, Tom Holland. But at this stage, I think it just makes sense. Sony is the only studio in the game that doesn't have its own streaming service. So they have the opportunity to play ball with so many distributors, essentially. And Sony has really been doing well with its PlayStation properties, which it owns the full rights to. So it's been working and collaborating with a whole bunch of other studios as far as that goes. And I think it just has gone through enough creative turmoils with the Marvel properties that to sell wouldn't make sense because it's free money for them. But at the same time, to continue to brunt the effort of putting these films together maybe just isn't worth it anymore. So could this be the case? Maybe. It could mean much more room to play with some pretty incredible characters, both in the Rogues Gallery, but in the supporting cast as well for Spider-Man in other areas of the Marvel world. So that'll be pretty cool. And we'll see how true this ends up to be. Again, huge grain of salt since this comes from a scooper. Now, sticking to Spider-Man, folks, did you know about Spider-Man and his amazing friends? Because I recently found out that some people don't know about Spider-Man and his amazing friends. Spider-Man and his amazing friends being Ghost Spider, Gwen Stacy, and Spin, Miles Morales. You know? And don't forget Simbi. It is super cute. So if you didn't know, for the past few years, Disney Junior has had a Spider-Man animated show. They actually recently spun off into Iron Man and his amazing friends, and they had a mini Avengers crossover semi-recently. But this show is a huge hit on top of like incredible merchandising. Disney does not have to share anything with Sony as far as TV rights are concluded, and or the TV rights and animated Spider-Man TV rights specifically. So with that being the case, Spidey and His Amazing Friends is a massive hit. It's got 1 billion hours streamed in 100 episodes. And very interesting tidbit that came out with this sort of retrospective interview regarding Spider-Man is this little bit that came from the creator of the show. While no one would mistake Spidey and His Amazing Friends for being part of the MCU, there is a master plan that comes down from leadership, and there's frequent communication with the Spidey team to make sure that nothing in the Disney show will conflict with what the larger MCU is doing. So, you know, if you're not seeing the multiverse, if you're not seeing certain story arcs take place in Spidey and His Amazing Friends, that's probably why. I just think this is super cute and super funny that you wouldn't want to introduce, Doctor Doom in Spidey and His Amazing Friends to confuse the little kids when they see Doctor Doom on their TV or on their movie screen. But it also is, interesting for us to note that there's some carryover here for what we see in the animated Disney Junior show will not carry over to the big screen. So I can confirm that Spider-Man will not become a pirate in the MCU. And he likely will also not travel back in time to the age of dinosaurs. And he probably will not be teaching the Incredible Hulk to take a deep breath and count to 5 when he's feeling just a little too angry. Now, jumping over to another galaxy here with the world of Star Wars. In case you didn't know, Sean Levy from Stranger Things and also from The Adam Project, Free Guy, and Deadpool and Wolverine is currently directing the next Star Wars movie that will be coming out following The Mandalorian and Grogu, which comes out this May in theaters. Levy is directing Star Wars Starfighter, which is starring Ryan Gosling, and it's going to be a pretty big deal. But we have learned Sean Levy is not the only director on Star Wars Starfighter. No, he had a guest director come by in Tom Cruise. So in this interview with New York Times, Sean Levy revealed that Tom Cruise basically pulled a celebrity on the shoot. Now this is a fun little term, celebrity shot. It's pretty self-explanatory term, but in the world of film, we call a celebrity shot is when you have someone someone do a role that they're not normally doing. So it's a fun joke when you got, when you got an assistant director pull focus, or when you have a grip operate camera, or whatever it may be, or you have a random guest visiting set direct a scene. So Tom Cruise got into the mud in pond water and was actually operating the camera as well, and directed a scene in the new Star Wars Starfighter movie. Levy was saying last week Steven Spielberg was here, and now Tom Cruise is wielding a camera, ruining his very nice shoes. Levy setting up a scene involving a lightsaber duel in water, which confirming we will be getting some lightsabers in this movie. Suggested that Tom Cruise jump on one of the cameras. He meant it as a joke, but there was Cruise wading into the muddy pond, holding the camera like a pro. So now when you see it in the movie, you'll know that part of it was shot by Tom. I mean, how cool is that? That's super fun to know. We still don't know a lot about this movie. Frankly, to me, seeing the fact that there was going to be a lightsaber in it was a shock. I did not assume that we would be getting Jedi or Sith or lightsaber wielding in this movie, but hey, what do I know? Literally. But also kind of fun to know that Tom Cruise kind of stopped by set and did a little celebrity shot there. So if Starfighter debuts to a 47 on Metacritic, we will demand the Tom Cruise cut. Yes. Well, hey, I predicted that Star Wars will be on its redemption arc. That was one of my 2026 predictions. Hey, check out that full YouTube video. It's pinned in chat, but also you can watch it if you subscribe to the channel. I do feel really confident that Star Wars is going to be going in the right direction, and it will start with Mandalorian and Grogu and hopefully continue through Star Wars Starfighter. So Godspeed, Sean Levy. I hope the best for you here. I said I didn't want to talk about Warner Brothers anymore, but god damn it if I don't have to keep talking about Warner Brothers. Well, the way that things have been going, and maybe we could have guesstimated, it seems as though Donald Trump is picking a horse in this race as far as the Warner Brothers, Netflix, Paramount messy breakup drama that's happening here. Essentially, through his lawyer, and Trump tweeted, truthed it, I don't know what we call it. Trump did say, stop the Netflix cultural takeover, and in a piece on OAN written by one of his lawyers, they wrote, the Department of Justice and the FTC should treat the merger of Netflix and Warner Brothers as a top-tier antitrust priority, not only for the market implications, but for what it means for free expression and America's cultural pluralism. Hey, you know what? Interesting points here, actually. You're kind of cooking with that. Let's read the second half of this quote. Netflix should compete, not conquer, and the U.S. has a responsibility to ensure that no corporation can dominate the national imagination through raw market power and ideological activism. Hold on. You kind of had me in the first half there. Where are you going with this? Netflix, the company, has repeatedly used its global platform to elevate progressive narratives while suppressing dissenting viewpoints. What? Oh, wait, what is this that Pierce is arguing? Paramount's rebuffed offer should be the one considered. It's time to say no to a woke media monopoly before the damage becomes impossible to reverse. Just when we thought it wasn't going to be about exactly what we thought it was going to be about. Just when we thought it wasn't going to be about what we knew it was going to be about, the administration is going masked off and is asking the FTC and the Federal Justice Department to stop Netflix's cultural takeover, as they call it, and instead consider Paramount. So I guess everything that the Ellisons and Barry Weiss are doing to gain favor with the administration is working, because when when Donald Trump met with Ted Sarandos, he called him a nice guy. When the deal was initially announced, he said, "Oh, you know what? Let the best studio win." But now here we are. And update as of today, in fact, Paramount is now suing Warner Brothers Discovery for rejecting their offer and making this mess so much messier than it needs to be. Basically, they're launching a lawsuit to say, no, Warner Brothers, you really need to consider our purchase because we offered you more money. Why aren't you accepting our more money? Take our money. You are being irresponsible. So they're taking it to the courts. They are now suing Warner Brothers for not taking their money. And Warner Brothers, of course, responded saying, despite 6 weeks and just as many press releases from Paramount Skydance, it has yet to raise the price or address the numerous and obvious deficiencies in its offer. Paramount Skydance is seeking to distract with a meritless lawsuit and attacks on a board that delivered an unprecedented amount of shareholder value. In spite of its multiple opportunities, Paramount Skydance continues to propose a transaction that our board unanimously concluded is not superior with the merger agreement with Netflix. So this is awful. Yeah, chat, you nailed it. Look, this was another one of my predictions for the year, that this was not even close to over at this point. And frankly, get ready for a whole lot of this. It's going to be a whole bunch of back and forth. Honestly, I would love to get to a point where maybe Warner Brothers just goes, actually, we're good. And they move forward with the original plan to just operate independently from Discovery. Because Warner Brothers had, aside from Disney, the best year last year. Sinners, Wicked, Weapons, so many wins. You don't need them. I understand you're in mountains of debt. Find another way, man. Find another way. So, folks, we'll continue to keep an eye on this. Warner remains committed to Netflix. Paramount remains committed to the Trump administration. And the Trump administration remains committed to whoever will give them the bigger microphone. Moving on here, the Television Academy is establishing a new Legacy Award for shows with a profound and lasting impact. Now, this is fascinating. The Television Academy announced a couple of new updates for its Emmys. One of the updates that we can give some claps in chat to is the fact that they announced that they will now be asking for AI disclosures. They essentially added a rule that said they are fully allowed to make sure that works do or don't contain AI, and that is disclosed accordingly so that it could be considered for their nomination. But they announced with this Legacy Award, the Legacy Award celebrates groundbreaking programs that have stood the test of time, delivering stories that continue to engage with audiences and featuring iconic and timeless characters with multi-generational appeal. So this is great. I mean, this is basically an opportunity to give shows that have existed for a while an opportunity to receive the recognition for standing as long as they could. You know, think about shows like Parks and Recreation, shows like The Office, Friends, The Wire, Mad Men, you know, shows that have existed for a really long time, or something like, 5 seasons technically. Stranger Things, I guess, maybe could be considered. But it needs a minimum of 60 episodes. Never mind. But basically, it's just another opportunity to recognize that, especially in the age of streaming that we live in, the lifeblood of television does not end when it stops airing on a cable network. So this is great. To qualify, we need 60 episodes across 5 seasons, and it needs to have sustained relevance, influence, or inspiration to a genre of television, an existing or new audience, and to society and culture. Also, no spin-offs, so you can't get an award. If you're Survivor, you're getting an award for Survivor, not for Survivor, and then Survivor Australia, and then Survivor Philippines. and an award may only be bestowed on a program once. So if there's a second renaissance of some random TV show, you won't be getting another one. So this is super cool. Another opportunity to recognize some great work out there, and it'll be very curious to see who takes home the very first Legacy Award. What show do you believe deserves a Legacy Award? I think for me, even though I haven't seen it, I've heard a lot of talk about The Wire maybe deserving some, and I think that would make sense. But I did mention Parks and Rec first because I do feel Parks and Rec very much deserves it. I feel like The Office would win it first. That is very possible. Could they give it to Better Call Saul because it's technically a spinoff? I think there's an argument for Better Call Saul to not. Oh, I don't know. Actually. That's a really good point. I feel like they would have to have some intense conversation because franchise properties must be considered as a whole. I don't know. Gilmore Girls. Actually, Gilmore Girls would be great. You know what? I fully support a Gilmore Girls for the first Legacy Award. 100%. If not Gilmore Girls, Community. Suits? Maybe Suits. That would be good. Mad Men would be a good poll. Yeah, man, now I want it to be Better Call Saul. But they would give it to Breaking Bad over Better Call Saul. Survivor will definitely get one, right? Like shows like that. Yeah, I'm gonna say Community or Gilmore Girls. Those are the good picks there, for sure. Alright, speaking of incredible developments in the world of television, parts of Disney Plus will soon look like your TikTok feed. So one of the great things about the start of the year, on top of the fact that it's award seasons, hey, by the way, we just did our Grammy guesses and then our results. So make sure you subscribe to check out all of that. One of the first things that happens every year is the CES trade show in Las Vegas, which is basically a big conference where everybody shows off new and emerging technology. Maybe about 50% of it will actually make it to market, and maybe about 5% of it will be products that you will actually buy. But at the conference, Disney was there with Aaron Teague, the EVP of Product Management, and they were teasing plans to roll out TikTok and Instagram Reel style videos for Disney Plus later this year. Now, this is something that Bob Iger had previously hinted at before at one of their investor conferences, as well as what some people really speculate was one of the biggest reasons why one of the many supporting reasons why the OpenAI Sora deal went into place. Teague said, we're obviously thinking about integrating vertical videos in ways that are native to core user behaviors, and Teague promised it won't be a disjointed random experience, but it could even be integrated with the AI-generated content feed as part of the company's deal with OpenAI's Sora generator. So you will now, instead of having to go to TikTok and Instagram to see edits of, your fan cams of Milo from Zombie, or your edits of every single time Peakley absolutely served, rather than going to TikTok and YouTube Shorts for it, you'll just see it on your Disney Plus app. I don't know. Look, there's a version of this. Because Disney Plus has been integrating user-generated content on their platform. And there's a world in which you could have had, hey, you know what? Disney Plus is basically developing a shorts platform that is strictly made up of content from Disney IPs that is tailored to be, hey, this can be a safe space. If you have a young child who is really interested in short form vertical content, but you don't love the algorithms and the messy world of other social media apps, Disney Plus will have some vertical content so that they can swipe through and all they're seeing is clips of their favorite TV shows and movies and things like that. But that's not what they're doing. That's not what they're doing. Instead, they're integrating AI, they're integrating a bunch of different types of content, and I just don't know that this is what we need, nor is it maybe the right move. So I'm extremely conflicted about this. I won't judge too hard until I see what it is and how it actually works, but yeah, I have no idea. Do these suits really think people watch vertical videos because they prefer it and that's just a product of the device? Yeah, I don't know. It feels wrong, absolutely, and I think you're right. It just really is executives seeing the fact that TikTok and shorts and reels get a shit ton of views, and so they go, how do we get those views on our platform? And you know what? When you get enough power and you sit at the top, you can make a decision, and folks just got to make it work. And ultimately, sometimes it takes it coming out and failing for them to see that it doesn't work. So I don't have a lot of optimism for this. I think this is completely unnecessary, but hey, you know what? If that means that there's a lot of video editors or product designers out there who are getting a good, consistent paycheck to make the work that's going to be on this platform, I'm glad somebody's getting some food on their tables. And then our last story for the day, folks, we talked about this in our Golden Globe results, which will be its own video coming later. We just did it live, though, so hey, make sure you're following on Twitch so you can catch all these things live. The Golden Globes producer talked about the exclusion of Ludwig Göransson's award, the Best Score award, not being broadcast on the show. And frankly, I think the producer has the opportunity here to really take their L. I'll just say it like that. In this interview, Weiss said, asked about the decision not to show the score, which Hans Zimmer really was vocal about on the red carpet. They said, I've seen other shows that they literally surprise winners by handing awards on red carpets or different ways of doing it. This is in reference to the Critics' Choice Awards, which did do this a couple weeks ago, where certain categories were being announced on the red carpet and the nominees did not know it, so they thought they were just going in for an interview, and instead they were being handed their award. Weiss says, you can find winner Ludwig's speech online, and it's great. There's 22,000 views on it right now. The Best Director clip has 25, so people are finding it online, and it presents just like it would present on the show. On the decision to just let the composers learn on Friday, the organization is facilitating communication with the nominees and such, though I'm not exactly sure the thinking behind when and how they are informed. Man, this is just an L. This just tells me that, Glenn Weiss does not understand what's happening and does not understand the blatant disrespect for the composers and the incredible, talented artists that worked here to really finish a movie and what it really takes to finish a movie. So in our last bit of time here on Movie News Monday, for the live chat, and of course this won't make it on the YouTube video because copyright protections, but I want to give Ludwig Göransson the platform that he was not given before and take a minute here and listen to his acceptance speech, because the music of Sinners was really what helped take that movie to the next level, and he deserves every bit of exposure for the work that he did. So let's all take a quick moment here and listen to Ludwig's acceptance speech. Man, what a great guy, what a great speech, and what a great honor, man. Shout out our composers, shout out all our musicians out here. This is, one of the best speeches of the night, absolutely, and it is just an absolute shame that it wasn't shown. So much love to the composers. One more time, Ludwig Göransson, Hans Zimmer, everyone else who was there. absolute ridiculous disrespect. Absolutely ridiculous. So happy to give him just a little bit of love here. But folks, with that, that is going to be the end of our Movie News Monday for the day. So thank you so much for stopping by if you were here live. If you weren't here live, hey, did you know we do these live over on twitch.tv? Have I mentioned that? Has that come up? Make sure you stop by live on Mondays. We usually go live around 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. You can be a part of this conversation. Let me know your thoughts as it's happening. If there's a story you want me to cover, we have opportunities for you to drop that in chat. We can talk about it. Otherwise, make sure to give this video a like, hit that subscribe button so you know next time we're posting content. We don't just do the news, we also do some fun games and awards, recognition, and stuff like that. I gotta go, guys, because I'm gonna go watch the Pitt Season 2 premiere again, and then again, and then again, until Season 2, Episode 2 comes out. But folks, I have been Jupiter. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I will see you at the movies. Bye. Bye, YouTube. Goodbye, chat. Say goodbye, YouTube. You can't see them on screen, but they're totally saying it.